Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm happy about this. Got it. Got it. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. We are about to kick off this pop-up masterclass. We decided to do a little pop-up masterclass. Just gonna hit record here. So we have this recorded in 2 different ways here. And we wanted to do this to wrap up the year. I think we're also doing a couple in December. So you'll keep your eye open for the ones that are happening in December. This one is kind of like a last minute one. And we really want to go over these 4 things that we wanted to make sure you check off the box, check these boxes when it comes to getting ready for your next speaking event. So for those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Renee Hughes. I'm the owner and founder of the Aroma Specialist. I'm a certified aromatherapist and holistic practitioner. I have a school called Holistic Champions where I certify people to become aromatherapist. And we also have a business school within the Aroma Specialist. And so what we do there is we help, and this is what this class is all about, we help aromatherapists and holistic practitioners to stabilize and advance their business with captivating speaking. So speaking events is what's really gotten us very consistent income over the last several years. All of our big events end up in anywhere between 10 to 30,000 when we do those events. And we want to help those of you who are already speaking. You already are doing speaking engagements, you're teaching, you're doing master classes, and you have small audiences, and you're not getting the conversion that you wanted to get. We also have a really small audience. And so it's fun to be able to teach you what we were able to learn how to do. And that is to have these big speaking events where we are closing 10 to 30,000 every time we do these larger events. So those of you who are here live with us on Zoom, we are streaming this live also on YouTube. We're going to be sending this on LinkedIn too, so just be aware of that. We're happy for you to have your camera on too, so everybody can see your lovely faces. But just letting you know that we're doing that in a couple of ways. So we're going to spend the next like 40 minutes together, 40 minutes to an hour, going over this information. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Okay, share my screen. Oh, it's taking me to YouTube. Okay. That's weird seeing myself there. All right. All right. Again, the idea behind is to how your speaking events can convert into income. So a lot of us are doing, is everyone hearing me okay? I'm seeing Deborah, you look like you can't hear me. Can you hear me? You hear me? Okay. Yeah. We want to make sure that you're able to host events that are worthy of your time and energy. So that's what we're diving into here. I'm just trying to get this slide to start and we will dive in. So we're checking the box on these 4 things. So of course, if you are having a speaking event, and some of you who are in my mastery program and my business coaching program, you may or may not be at the point where I'm helping you to do master classes yet, but you will be. So just tune into this because these are things that you're going to be doing. These are not all the things that you're going to do, but I want to make sure that these aromatherapists out there are thinking about and doing before you have your next speaking event. Okay. All right. So let's dive in. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about developing your brand so that you can work with committed clients each month through speaking. So a lot of you are doing well with your brand. You know what you're doing. You've got your program out there, but you're wanting to expand your brand. You're wanting to kind of solidify, niche down, and help people to know who it is that you are. There is no better way that we have found than through speaking events. It is a great way to become known for something specific, and to enroll people into your program. We have not found a better way with all the things out there. This is what's really made a difference for our business, and it's why we're really focusing on that. So again, For not met me before, my name is Renee Hughes. I'm the owner and founder of the Aroma Specialist. And again, we train aromatherapists and holistic practitioners to stabilize and advance their holistic business with captivating speaking. It's very specific speaking. And so, what I'm hearing out there is that many of you who are speaking, you're hosting summits, you're doing workshops, you're doing masterclasses. Some people are moving away from it because they're like, oh, you know what? Those don't work anymore. And we're here to tell you, it absolutely works in this economy, in everything that's happening in the world. They absolutely still work. Live and online speaking events work. Okay. So these are our brand values. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, we're all about love and harmony and excellence and integrity. So everything that we teach you, these values are infused into every single thing that we do. And you'll find that as you work with us. So, what do we mean when we're talking about speaking events? And I just want a thumbs up for those couple of you who are live. Do you see my slides? Forgot to ask that. Yeah, I got a Deborah's nodding. Perfect. So when we say speaking events, that can be confusing because there's a lot of different things, and we're going to be training you on all of it, because there's the podcasts and the summits and the conferences and the panels and all those kinds of things. You get trained on all those things. But for these four things that we're going to go over today, we're specifically talking about masterclasses, workshops, teaching in your classroom, and any live or recorded event. Does that make sense? So those of you who are watching live, you can type in comments. You can, I tell you what's even better. What I do sometimes is I'll let people send me a WhatsApp. So we're going to put my phone number out there that you can send me a WhatsApp and ask your questions personally. So my WhatsApp number is 678-250-3202. So that's 678-250-3202. You'll also see that number in the comments of this video. So wherever you're watching this, you're going to see it in the comments. I think you should just put it in the chat for those of you who are live, but for those who are watching this recording, you're going to see that in the comments of wherever you're watching it. So go ahead and send me a WhatsApp and ask your questions there. I'll be sure to answer them. Okay, so this is the type of speaking event that we're talking about for this particular one. And just give me one quick moment. I'm just going to shut my door. Okay. All right. And I want to know about your events. So those of you who have already planned events, you've done some events in 2022. I want to know how they went for you and what questions you were left with those. What was the conversion rate for that speaking event? And if you have some planned for 2023, what are your questions around those? You can totally send those to me and WhatsApp. So let's dive into these four things that I want to teach you today. And here's the first one. To understand the difference between speaking and communication, all has to do with the response. So what I want you to do is to prepare yourself ahead of time to be able to read your audience and re-engage your audience. So what does that mean? Reading your audience means that whether you're online or you're live, you get a feel and a sense for what is happening with your audience. Are they with you? Are they retaining the information? Are they multitasking? If let's say you have an event and it's all on Zoom and most people have their camera off, can you encourage them to be in the room with you, to connect with you, to look at you, to get their questions answered? It's very important. This is one of the most important things that you're going to find with this kind of speaking, is that you have to connect to the audience. If everybody is doing something else and they're texting and they're kind of in drift land, you can tell that you've lost them. You first of all need to know, you need to be able to understand that that's happening. And then you want to be able to re-engage them. So you need to have a plan in place to re-engage that audience. So this is tip number one. Check this off in your box. Make sure that you've prepared it and you re-engage. You know how to re-engage them. Now, those of you who are clients in our full program will be preparing this with you. So we're going to show you, how do you read your audience? How do you know that you've lost them? And how do you get them re-engaged? But for those of you who are already speaking, or if you're not in our program, this is what we want you to do. We want you to take a look and see if you can figure out, like, how do I know that these people are still with me? How do I know that I've lost them? How do I know that if the information that I am teaching they're actually getting the point that I'm giving. Sometimes we can be teaching something and this one thing is our point and they're coming away with something else. So we don't want that, right? Because remember, this is about developing our brand and working with committed clients, and they can't really commit to our program if they don't even understand what it is that we're teaching. Does that make sense? So if you're live, give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Marilyn Gerber, you're the other live person. Great, it makes sense for Deborah. Marilyn, let me know if that is making sense for you. Give me a thumbs up. And those of you who are watching the recording or watching the live, you can just tell me, like I said, in WhatsApp, we can have a whole conversation in there that it's making sense for you. All right, so that is number one, prepare to read and re-engage your audience. So send me your questions on that if you have them. Number two is communication versus transformation. Let's see, got a little comment in there, so I just want to take a look. Oops, it's not letting me see the comments. Oh, you know why? I can't see the comments, you guys. So either if you have something you need to tell me, just take yourself off mute and just shout it out, okay? Because I can't see the comments. So number two is communication versus transformation. So what do we mean by that? This is another really important one. We want you to be prepared for it. So you can check this off before your speaking event. We want, not only are you going to be communicating, so effective communication means that people are responding to you, right? All right, but the other thing is not just that communication, not just the response. We want them engaged. We want them in the room with us. We want them nodding their heads and feeling something and all those kinds of things. But prior to your event, we want you to also determine what you want to happen during your event. So it's not just the program that you're going to be introducing them to, but right there during the event, what do you want them to happen? What kind of aha moment would you like them to have? If you were to say ahead of time and write out all of the reviews that you wanted your audience to give you after the training, what would those reviews say specifically? What kind of transformation happened in that webinar, masterclass, workshop, classroom setting? What happened? What's going to happen for them? And we want you to be very specific in what's going to happen for them, because when you have that specificity in your mind, as you're preparing the speaking event, it will happen. So your ideal clients will have the transformation. And we're not talking about big major transformations. If you're doing an hour webinar, people aren't going to have a whole life transformation usually in that hour, but they are going to experience something. And you, as the speaker, as the teacher, need to determine what that thing is. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up. Or Marilyn, I don't know if you're with us. I'm not seeing no activity. So let me know if that makes sense. You may have put something in the chat, but because I can't see chat, I don't know. So you can take yourself off mute. Okay, so that is something that has to be predetermined. And that's another thing. That's your second check mark. So check that off, determine what you want their transformation to be. So let me give you some examples, because this one can seem very abstract. So I want to give you some examples. Okay, so sometimes, as you know, people in the holistic space, we say, oh, I want people to feel better. I want people to feel like their best selves. I want people to feel healthier, happier, more joy. None of those are a transformation that is going to be tangible for your event. A person is not going to go from depressed to happy. The path that they can go to be happier, they may feel some joy during that 1 hour masterclass. They may, have a light bulb moment that tells them something specific, but they're not going to go from depressed to happy, from stressed to not stressed, from confused to clear, not in that 1 hour. However, they can have some steps along the way. So let's say that your webinar, your masterclass is around emotional support, and your full program, your full pay program is designed to help people to go from depressed to happy. And you know that in 6 months to a year, whatever your program is, they can do that. And some of you who do NLP, it's a lot shorter. It's like 3 months or less that you can take a person from having really toxic habits to being really clear and clean on the other end in a very short period of time, right? So you as the coach, as the consultant, as the course creator, you know what that time period is, but that's in your big paid program. What little piece of that can they experience in 1 hour? So maybe this is someone, I'm going to use two examples here. Maybe they're very depressed. And there's different steps that come with helping a person to pull out of that. One step might be acknowledgement that, hey, yeah, this is what I am. Some people, they go so long, they don't want to put that word on it. They don't want to ever say, gosh, you know what? Let me just give it what it is. I'm depressed. Maybe that could be the transformation that you decide, you know what, before this webinar, people have come here for a reason. I want them to leave acknowledging, you know what, that's what it is, and it's okay. I want them to feel okay about it. I want them to acknowledge it and feel okay about it. That's huge transformation that you could provide in a free masterclass or workshop. Um, let's use the other example I mentioned. Maybe you've got people that you're teaching that have really toxic habits. Maybe they are junk food, how you say it? Junk food junkies, is that what it is? I don't know. They're addicted to junk food. And you're a health and wellness coach. And so you're going to pull them out of that. You're going to help them with their cravings and with their emotional eating. You're not going to accomplish that in a 1 hour webinar. But what you can do is help them to understand at a different level why they're feeling so addicted, why they can't stop eating these things. That can happen. Huge transformation, 1 hour. Okay. So think about, and some of your events are going to be a lot longer than that. I understand that some of you are doing the longer ones. So even more, if you're doing like the 3 to 5 day events, I would tone in on a transformation for each day of that event. Don't go for a whole lot. Less is more. So one thing that you want your clients to walk away, your audience to walk away with per day of that event. Make sense? Got that? Per day of your event. Not a ton of things, one specific thing that they can walk away with. All right, that was checkbox number 2. Here's checkbox number 3. All right, in checkbox number 3, we're talking about titles. So you can see that. You see Rachel waving her hand. Yes, me. So this is the reaction that you want people to have when they even just come across the title of your class for your workshop. It needs to be so specific and so tangible for your audience that they immediately say, oh my goodness, that's me. I need it. I can't even pass this by without signing up for it because you've just said exactly what I've been looking for. So you want to have a title that people have been searching. They've been searching and they've been looking for this specific thing. So Deborah, I'll use you as an example. So people, those who don't know Deborah Natler, she is got an amazing program helping people who are, and them and their families who are dealing with Alzheimer's disease. So what are people searching? What are they searching in search engines? When they go to Google, maybe they've just gotten a diagnosis. There's a lot of talk right now about this actor who realized he has the gene for it. So now what are people searching? How do I find out if I have the gene for Alzheimer's? What does that mean for me and my family? What does it look like? Right, Deborah? So what you would be doing in that case is if we were doing events, we're not doing events right now. We may do a live around this specific thing. I'll talk to you about that later. But you would want to have a title for your class or your workshop or your live event, whatever it is, around what people are searching for. What are those search engines? What are they doing in those search engines? And you can do that, which I'll tell you about later, Deborah. But that's something that all of you want to do. You want to find out something that you're positive that your audience is looking for. So why do we underscore in all caps sure that your audience cannot wait to devour? Because here's where a lot of us get hung up. We think our audience wants to know this, and in fact, they don't want to know that, or they haven't addressed it like that. Let's use the example I used earlier. You may want to do a webinar that says the top 3 reasons you're depressed. The top 3 reasons moms in this age range are consistently depressed. Well, if you haven't identified yourself that way, not going to be interesting. You're not going to click on it. So you have to think about your audience. Do you have an audience that identifies that way? Or do you have an audience that identifies their depression as low energy, as being unwell, as feeling tired all the time, as being confused, as being forgetful? Maybe they're identifying their symptoms of depression in different ways. This is why we have to know our audience, because your title has to match with how they identify themselves, or else they won't see it in the title and they won't be raising their hand to say, absolutely, I need that. Now, if you're dealing with an audience that, yeah, that's how they identify, then it would be interesting to them. Let's use the other example we used about the junk food. So maybe a person, you want to have an event that says how to stop being a junk food junkie. Well, that's only going to work if they feel like that's how they are. I'll never forget the first time I worked with a personal trainer. I was so proud of myself because since my early 20s, I have been what I call a health food junkie. I would read and study everything I could find on natural health and wellness and supplements and all these kinds of things. First time I worked with a trainer, she had me keep a diary of everything that I ate. And I thought, oh, well, this is going to be easy. I shop at Whole Foods and I get all my groceries from Whole Foods and I eat mostly vegetables and all these things. My first session with her, she says to me, "You're a junk food junkie." And I was appalled. What are you talking about? I eat healthy foods. And she helped me to see, yeah, when you go to Whole Foods, you buy all the good stuff, organic, all these kinds of things. But look at in between when you're eating out and how many times you go for junk food. I didn't know. So if I had seen a class that said, hey, how to stop this behavior, I wouldn't have signed up for it because I didn't know. Isn't that interesting? That we can have an issue that we don't even know that we have. So that's why, as coaches and consultants and teachers, and especially in the holistic space, we have to find out how is our audience identifying with their symptoms. So I'm going to use Deborah again because I know her business. How, a person may not have been diagnosed yet, but they're having certain symptoms. Deborah did an amazing YouTube the other day. Please look her up so you can see the work that she's doing. But it helped to alleviate some of the concerns. Me and one of my good friends, we are always talking about, we cannot remember a thing. And you actually, Deborah, address one of the things that we say. It's like, I think it's happening. It's happening already. It's happening early. But you were just saying that's normal. And it's such a relief because it's like, shouldn't we test it? Because it's like, literally, I can't remember anything. It goes in my brain, it's gone. So that kind of thing. So that's something a person would research. But if they haven't been diagnosed yet, and no one in their family has been diagnosed, would they attend something called, 3 steps to living a better life with Alzheimer's? But if you could get a person earlier on, maybe they would have even better results. I don't know. We have to talk about that and see. But the point is, you all want to find a title for your event that you are positive your audience right now is looking for. They're Googling it, they're talking about it on social media. It's a thing for them. And we're wording it the way they would word it. That's going to help us to make sure that the title of our class, of our live event, is crave-worthy and they can't wait to see it. We get that one? That was number 3. Number 4 is our last one, and it's actually my favorite one. So really listen up here. This is a little bit different, and we're going to talk about this in a different way. I've got kind of how to do this a little differently than maybe you have done in the past, and some of you are not doing this at all. And it is to engage with your audience prior to your event. So engage with your audience prior to your event. Have you been doing this? If you've been doing this, I want you to message me on WhatsApp and tell me what exactly you've been doing and what the results have been, because there's a very specific way to do this. You want to connect with your audience prior to your event, um, in the best way that it is for them. So you see the lady there, she's actually on her phone. So we want to imagine that she's actually talking individually to her audience prior to the event, getting to know them, getting to know their symptoms, their concerns, what they want to hear during the event. And see, this is another great thing about having a small audience. A lot of us get panicked over only having a few people. But it's really great when you can do this, because if you have like 100 people coming to your event, you're probably not going to get a chance to talk to every one of them. We've had really large events where we have tried, and even my team have gotten in there and started calling, trying to connect with people, and it's really difficult. But when you only have a handful at a time, it's really easy to say, "Hey, can we get on a call? But prior to the event, I want to get your notes. I want to find out what's been happening with you so that I can make sure to include it in my content." It feels great, doesn't it? We're not used to people who are the teachers or the speakers being intimately connected with us before we even hear them speak. But we like to do that. And it's made a big difference, because what happens is when you develop that relationship on the front end of your event, by the time they come to your event, they're already attached to you. They already kind of know you, and they feel safe with you. They trust you. They love your advice. They like the way you speak. And you've already started developing that relationship. So, all of these events, it's about developing a relationship. You can only develop a relationship one person at a time, really and truly. When you're speaking in a group, you can connect and you can become magnetic to them and they can get excited and things like that. But the real magic happens when it's one on one and you can connect with people. So we really encourage people to do that, to talk to their people prior to the event. Now, there's a few ways you can do this. You can have them to DM you, or you can DM them if you're sure your audience is in one place. Are they on IG? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Facebook? How are you going to connect with them? Another thing that you can do, and this is what we do, we like WhatsApp. And I don't have any problem giving my phone number out. It's not a number that you can call or anything like that. So I don't have any problem putting it out there. You can only WhatsApp me or text me on that number. So we like doing that and having conversation back and forth. Now, I've gotten this question several times where people say, well, what if you get, oh gosh, what do you call it? What do you call those people? Like spammy type people, where they're trying to sell you something because you've given out your information, or they're creepy and things like that. That rarely ever happens. We've had a few people over the years of doing this that we've had to block, but it's been worth it for the great relationships we've built with our audience. But just know that most platforms have a way that you can block people. So if you say DM me and you start DMing them and it gets into an uncomfortable place, you can block the person and report them on social media. I know you can do that on IG. I know you can do that on Facebook Messenger. Same thing with LinkedIn. You can block people, remove them as a connection, and you can block them so that they're not able to reconnect with you. Okay. If it's WhatsApp, you can block them. Okay. So for me, of course, you have to go for your own safety level. It's really worth it. So this is my fourth and last one, that we really want to encourage you to engage with your audience prior to the event. So shoot me questions about that. Let me know if you're doing this already, how you're doing it, and what your questions are specifically about that. So those are our four things. And I'm going to open it up for questions in just a minute. So just if you have questions, hang on. For those of you who are live, I'm going to answer your questions in just a minute. We want to send you this last two things. Remember this: captivating speaking is absolutely the answer to working with amazing, committed clients every single month. This is it. There are so many different strategies out there and different things that you can do. But here's the thing: if you bring people in, you create traffic, you do some giveaways, you bring people in. Once people are seeing you and they're experiencing you and you're teaching them, if what you have to say is not magnetic, it's not captivating, it's not moving them, then you're still not going to have clients. After all the investment and all the work, you're still not going to have clients. You've got to be able to connect with these people and really motivate them to action and transformation. So know that this is absolutely the way to do it. And it does work in holistic practice. And it is working right now in our today's world. So we really wanted to emphasize that. And then lastly, we want to introduce you to a series that we're going to be doing all of the rest of, well, no, it's 2023. I was going to say 2022, but all of 2023, we're going to be doing these classes called Bold and Booked. We want to invite you to Bold and Booked. So I'm just going to stop my screen share for a minute because I'm going to take you over to Bold and Booked and let you see what it's all about. So our current clients are going to be coming into Bold and Booked as well. And as well as people who are new to us. And you can find it simply by going to boldandbooked.com. And let me just show you. Thank you, Lon. Now I can see the, when I'm sharing my screen is when I can't see it. Okay, now I'm sharing my screen again. You should see that. Boldandbooked.com, you're going to see that. So Bold and Booked are a deeper dive into the subjects that we're having around speaking. So if you went to our boot camp in October, it's similar to the boot camp, but we've just tweaked it. We're always tweaking. Every year we tweak. So it's Bold and Booked. And what this is it's a holistic entrepreneur's guide to having a fully booked business through captivating speaking. We're going to show you how to do it. This is going to be a half-day event from 9:30 to 1:30, February 20th through the 23rd. Okay, so all of our current clients get to come to that complimentary. And then those of you who are new to us, there is a fee for that. So we're going to teach you how to become that speaker that people can't stop listening to. Don't you want that? You know, sometimes when we have certain personality types, we feel like that's never going to be me. Like I'm never going to be that person that people are like, oh, I can't wait to tune in to her, the next thing that she does. But I want to show you that that's not true. I am extremely introverted. Everybody who knows me knows I'm always telling that. But people who work with me always say, gosh, I can't imagine it. It's only those who work with me and who know me personally that say, yeah, like she turns into a different person when she's teaching and presenting. And I want to show you how to connect with that part of yourself that you can also become that speaker that people rave about and that they can't stop listening to. So you can go through the page and see what we're going to be talking about there. So how to feel good about speaking in any size audience. So whether you're one-on-one or you're talking to a stadium, we want you to be comfortable and we want you to be able to get your voice across and grow your brand with speaking. We're also going to show you which speaking gigs that you should be doing right now in your business. So we're going to talk about the stages of business and what you should be doing right now. We're going to show you how to work with quality, meaning committed clients every month. And if you've been in business for a while, you know, which our clients usually have been, you know what that means. It's not the people who say they're going to sign up and then they don't, or they sign up and they only do the work for a month or so. These are people that like, I love what you have. I'm going to do this work. I'm in it with you. So that is the kind of client we're going to be talking about during this Bold and Booked event. We're also going to talk about the art of getting invited to speak on a variety of platforms. We want invitations. I'll tell you a story. When we did our October, this same event in October, we offered people to join our big paid program, our permanent, it's not permanent, it's not the word, our full program, which is our mastery program, right? And one of the people invited there were actually a couple of them. Lee April and Maria both have already been invited to speak just based on the content that they've been putting out. Now, that's extraordinary given that they have been in business already doing these things. So this is what I'm saying. Those of you who are newer, you hadn't been out there as much, it might take you a little bit longer. But these ladies had already been doing their business. They had an established business. And now it's taking a different turn. And they've been invited to speak. So it's very exciting. And we're going to talk to you during Bold and Booked about how that happens. We're also going to talk about enjoyable social conversations that convert to clients. So again, those of you who have been doing this for a while, you know that those conversations online can get really awkward. You're having the social conversations, you're DMing these clients, you're wanting to get them on your free call so that you can tell them about your program. And it's kind of like this push and pull, and it's extremely uncomfortable. So we're going to talk about how to enjoy those conversations. And then we're going to tell you how to enjoy and very naturally sell to people in those conversations. So sometimes when we're talking, maybe we're DMing back and forth, and finally we get them on a Zoom call and we want to hear about their needs and we want to tell them about our program. And then again, we freeze up, especially when it's time to talk about the price. So we want to talk about how to get natural at that, okay, and how to really feel comfortable talking about these things. That's a little bio on me that you can take a look at. And here is the whole full thing. So again, our clients in mastery and business coaching, you come complimentary, of course. It's part of your training. But those of you who are not in a full program with us, it's $97 for early bird pricing. And if you want VIP training, which again, our paid clients get, it's $297. So you guys who are in our mastery or business coaching program, you will get the VIP training as well. Okay. So here's what we're going to be going over those 3 days. The first day is where we're going to really focus on those feelings of intimidation, where they come from, how to get rid of them, how to quiet those fears and those thoughts so that you can still speak and still do your job. On day 2, we're going to learn the most important speaking engagements for your current stage of business. Remember, I said earlier, we're going to talk about that. That's going to happen on day 2. And then on day 3, we're going to talk about mastering your messaging. What are you saying to people? What is it that you really do and how you can convey that to them? Okay. We're going to talk about that from whether it's one-on-one sales calls or into the classroom. We're going to nail all those things. And then with the VIPs, some of you have this already if you've done this with us before. We're going to give you access to our media contacts and talk a little bit about how you can speak with these people and get in front of them and get on their calendars, right? And then we're going to do a media bio training. So specifically how you can create a bio for your business. And you're going to get a personal business evaluation to find the gaps in your business strategies using our reveal method. All right. And finally move beyond your business plateaus. So that's going to be so Deborah, your kitty is so cute. So that is what's going to happen at Bold and Booked. We invite you to go to boldandbooked.com and grab your ticket. And all the FAQs and everything is answered there for you. But again, you have my WhatsApp so you can ask questions. And now I'm going to open it up for questions. Anyone have questions for me before we close out for today? Let's see. I got something in the chat, but that's the link. Okay. So Deborah, you can reach out because we work together. So you have the ability to reach out to me. For Marilyn, I think Marilyn's gone. So for the rest of you who are watching the recording, grab me on WhatsApp, ask your questions, and we look forward to seeing